Angry Ice Cube here, and this time we're not doing a tour. I know, surprise. We're going to be doing another mechanics discussion, only this one's not guild mechanics, it's going to be about your stats. I'm going to try to keep it brief, so I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what the stats do. Now, health and power, I don't need to tell you that, do I? If your health gets to 0, you're dead. Well, there's a little bit of leeway. You're unconscious at 0, and if you reach a certain point, then you're dead. It's not that far below your 0, though. So, yeah. Power, of course, is your ability to use spells and whatnot. Okay, so you got your attributes. Character classes have 2 attributes that matter. The primary and the secondary. Now, the secondary is stamina. It does not matter what class you are. Stamina is your secondary. That gives you more hit points. It also increases your chance of completely resisting spells. And by resisting, I mean when the spell hits you and goes bong, resisted. Okay. Your primary attribute increases your power. It also increases your damage. If you're a fighter, it's strength. Scouts use agility, like me. Intelligence for wizards, and priests use wisdom. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Defense. Elemental, noxious, arcane, and mitigation are damage reduction. Alright, they cap at 75%, but that does not mean you want to stop putting points into them with better gear and whatnot, because if you fight enemies that are of a higher level than you, they get increasing bonuses to hit you and do damage and whatnot, and you get increasing penalties against them. Having these numbers past the cap offsets that. But again, this is damage reduction. Alright. Block chance. You block the hit. The damage doesn't factor in because you blocked it. Avoidance. You dodge the hit. These have caps too, and again, for the same reason, you can still go over those caps. But like block chance, I believe, well, numbers have changed, so I'm not sure what the new cap is. It used to be if you're fighting a mob with at least green color, it capped at 70%. If it were gray, it went up to 80%. And I think avoidance was the same. I'm not going to swear to that, but again, if you're fighting in-game stuff, you're going to be fighting like yellow, orange, and red mobs. You need these numbers as high as possible. So even if block chance caps at 70, you'd want to get it up to like 130, 140, 150 even. I don't know. I don't know where you need it to be to offset those penalties. Again, same with these. You need to get them high. Like you need something like 200,000 to do heroic. Or not heroic, solo, advanced solo zones in the Terrors of Thalumbra expansion, or at least that's what I've been told. So yeah, again, top 4 numbers are damage reduction. This is for physical damage, this is for spell damage, elemental, noxious, arcane. Then you got your ability to dodge. Now this stuff here, the parry, dodge, riposte, block, I'm not exactly sure, mechanically speaking, how those factor into avoidance. Like, riposte is just a counter attack. I don't know how the game handles that. I don't know if the riposte comes after a successful dodge attempt, or I should say after a successful parry attempt, or if having higher riposte increases your ability to dodge. I don't know. But realistically speaking, it shouldn't. A riposte is just a counter attack that you do when someone attacks you and you deflect their blow. You just riposte. Parrying, that's just deflecting a blow. Alright, they punch you for the face and you just slap their hand to the side. Or if you're a fencer, you just redirect their blade by like a half a degree in either direction, and it misses its intended target. It could be the difference from being stabbed in the heart and being stabbed in the shoulder. Like in The Princess Bride, when the guy goes to stab him and Montoya takes it in both shoulders instead. If you remember that part, that's a parry. Dodge, of course, is a dodge, and block is a block. But let's talk about the offensive stats. Okay, this is where the fun begins. Okay, first, this section here is all about your combat arts. Quick forward. It used to be that the game focused on auto attack for your primary damage source. I'm not going to give you exact numbers, but it was estimated that 80% of a character's damage came from their auto attack, and the remaining 20% came from their combat arts and spells that they cast in between auto attacks. Now it seems to be flipping around the other way, so that you're doing more damage from your abilities and you're supplementing them with auto attacks, which makes sense to me. The other way seemed kind of I don't know, it just seemed kind of opposite what it should have been. But okay, so for your abilities, crit chance. Pretty sure crit chance also applies to your auto attacks, but for the most part, this stuff is for your abilities. Crit chance, it caps at 100%, but going over 100% increases your ability to have higher tiered criticals. There are legendary, fabled, and mythical criticals beyond the standard critical. Crit bonus. Okay, now I'm not entirely sure how this works. There's a base multiplier for, well, melee crit, spell crit, heal crit, and taunt crit. It's 130%. I don't know if your crit bonus adds to that 130% or if your crit bonus replaces that 120%. I'm not sure. I mean, it could be 274% of that multiplier for all I know. I don't know. But basically, this just makes your criticals hit harder. It does not cap as far as I know of. Potency. Okay, now this is where everything is starting to apply to your abilities. Potency modifies before anything else. Potency is the first thing that gets factored in to a damage or a heal calculation, whatever your abilities do. If it's a taunt, potency will increase the amount of hate it gains. If it's a damage ability, it increases the amount of damage it does. If it's a heal, it increases the amount of heal it does by a flat percentage. It applies to the base number. It improves the base number. So if you, well, enough of that. Ability mod. That's why potency is important. Your abilities will increase by 12,000 up to 50% of their max in PvE and blah 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 in PvP. 50% of their max. Ability mod is, think of this as the amount of money you have in your bank account, but you're only allowed to withdraw a certain amount determined by the ability itself. You can withdraw different amounts of this based on which ability you choose, because the abilities do different amounts of damage for their base. Potency increases that base. So if you have an ability that does 100 to 200 points of damage base, you can increase it by 50 to 100 points from your ability mod. So obviously having 12,000 ability mod is mostly wasted. But if I increase my potency enough, that base starts to increase, and I can apply more and more ability mod to that. So it's good for double the reasons. It doesn't just increase your stuff, it increases how much ability mod can be put in there, so it's got a double effect. Again, potency goes first. That's the first thing that gets calculated in. Does not cap that I'm aware of. Ability mod, I don't know if it caps. Again, you can apply up to half of the base on an ability. So more potency means more ability mod. So they're like twins. All right, they're twins. Fervor and resolve. Fervor is the final multiplier applied to your damage. Possibly your heals, I don't know. I was told damage only, so I don't know if that's true. This one says abilities, so whatever. But anyways, this is the final modifier. After everything else has been figured out, then you apply fervor, which again, like potency, is a flat percentage. So after everything's figured out and you're going to do 439 points of damage with this ability, and you have 10% fervor, you're going to do, let's see, what would that be? 439 plus 43. So that, I mean, you're going to be doing like almost 500. Again, this is the final multiplier. You don't have to worry about anything else modifying that. Resolve is a per enemy basis and it's useless in older content. It's for current content. Current right now is Terrors of Thalumbra, so just you know when this video took place. But resolve is it's a check. They have resolve, you have resolve. If their resolve is higher, they hit you harder and you hit them softer. If your resolve is higher, you hit them harder and they hit you softer. Okay, so it's a slight modifier, and the modifier is the difference between the two. So yeah, that's really all there is to say about resolve. Hate mod just increases the amount of hate you gain from, well, anything you do. Everything generates hate. You know, if you throw out a taunt, that just increases, that does hate damage. Alright, that's just pure hate that you're building. Alright. As I understand it, damage is a 1-to-1 hate ratio, so 1 point of damage is 1 point of hate. And someone told me that healing was higher. I don't know. I've never seen anything official that actually tells you if this is true or not, but this is how it was explained to me way back in the day. Basically, 1 point of damage or 1 point of healing is 1 point of hate. Hate's the number that determines what member of the group that mob wants to punch in the face at any given moment. So again, taunts generate pure hate, but damage, it converts, so it's kind of meaningless when you get down to it. But hate mod is a modifier of how much hate you gain. It can go up to 100% for positive, i.e. you can gain double the amount of hate, or it can also go negative, but at negative it caps it 50%. Again, that's negative, so it halves the amount. So if you're not a fighter, you want this low. If you are a fighter, you want this high. Reuse speed. Okay, the difference between reuse speed and recovery speed, briefly. Reuse speed is the amount of time you have to wait before you can use the same ability over again. Okay, so if I cast off my particle beam launcher adept 7, I have to wait 20 seconds before I can do it again. Recovery, on the other hand, is how long I have to wait before I can use any ability after firing off a previous ability. They all have different numbers, and it's usually like this one is like 0.3 seconds. Or, well, okay, 0.29 seconds, but basically a third of a second before I can fire off any other ability after I fire this one off. Whereas recast is your reuse. I have to wait 5 seconds before I can use this one again. Cap at 100% for reuse and probably for recovery. Reuse speed is for abilities. Spell reuse is for spells. I do believe that they are factored separately. So having a spell reuse of 0% means any spell abilities I have to wait the full amount. Whereas reuse speed, all my combat arts, being a bard I have both, are reduced by half. Casting speed is how long it takes that ability to cast. You have to wait a couple seconds. It's, the little bar fills up. How long will that take? Well, that's your casting speed. Oops, sorry. 100% is the max, but if you go over the max, it goes into double cast. Double cast is just what it sounds like. The ability to click this once and have it cast twice instantly. It'll fire once and fire again immediately after it's done firing. I don't have to click this again. I don't have to wait. So it's a 2 for the price of 1 ability. So remember, more casting speed is good. It does have diminishing returns. If I get this up to 140, it's not going to be 40% double cast. It'll probably be something like 6.8% double cast or something like that. Okay, so let's go down here to your auto attack stuff. Alright, real quick here. DPS just modifies the amount of damage your auto attack does. It's a percentage number with no cap that I'm aware of. Haste is the same thing as casting speed, only it's for how long it takes you to auto attack. Remember, nothing can auto attack faster than 1 second. That's the fastest you can get. Even if this said like 0.3, it's still going to take 1 second. That is the ceiling. That's the hard ceiling right there. But haste is just, again, it's just like casting speed. Haste goes into your flurry chance. And flurry is like double cast. It's multiple hits from one attack, if the attack hits. All right. Multi-attack is multiple swings from one swing. So it's basically, and it has a soft cap and it has serious diminishing returns. I don't remember the exact numbers, but for example, it was a couple years ago I was looking at when they just changed it because they did a big swap. Multi-attack had changed where it used to be it was harder to get flurries than it was multi-attacks. You got lots of multi-attacks but few flurries. Lots of little hits. Now it's fewer hits but they're bigger. All right. Now they were smaller hits but there were more of them. So it flopped. Multi-attack is the ability to attempt to hit the target and then hit it again at the same time. So hit it twice with one attempt. You can get more than one extra hit. Getting that first one is easy. You only need like 100 to get one multi-attack, which is 2 swings per swing. But then you need something like 700 to get 100% chance to get 2 extra hits. And then it has to be something like 1600 to get a third one. So as you can see, it drops off sharply. Probably around 150 is a good number to consider the cap, because it gives you, well, I'm sitting at just under 200%, and I have basically got 1 1/4 extra hits. And that's 1 extra hit per swing plus a 25% chance for a second extra hit. So 1.25 extra hits. Again, I want to reiterate this because some people get confused between this and flurry. Multi-attack. I swing at you once, but somehow it's 2 swings. So I have 2 chances per swing to hit you. Flurry is I hit you once, but I actually land multiple hits. I don't know if multi-attacks can flurry, like if I hit you with the first one and I get a flurry, the second attempt can also flurry. I don't think so, but maybe. Not sure. AE auto attack is the ability to hit multiple enemies with a swing, up to 4 in a cone in front of you. Alright? It's a frontal cone. You have a chance to hit up to 4 enemies. Strike through is the ability to negate an enemy's dodge. They can do it to you, you can do it to them. Accuracy is, of course, your ability to hit them. Flurry, I've just talked about that. Weapon and spell damage bonus. Weapon damage bonus for like your bows and your swords and stuff. Spell damage bonus is for like your wand. Just again, it's a damage modifier. And then down here it tells you how much damage your primary and secondary weapons do, what their delay is. Here's your ranged weapon. And then down here these stats are for crafting, but it's basically the same thing. Chance for getting a this adds 10% to how much progress you're getting each time. This is a flat number added to it. This is 10. Or no. Wait, does that say percent? Okay, that's weird. So there's a progress mod and a progress add, but they both appear to be the same thing, so I'm not sure about that. This stuff is for experimenting. You got stuff for harvesting, chance to get more rares and stuff. And it's mostly self-explanatory. Just if you're confused, mouse over it. Or ask someone here. The last things I want to talk about are the PvP stats. They're not that important if you don't PvP. In fact, they're not important at all if you don't PvP. But if you do PvP, toughness. You take less damage and you resist spells more often. Lethality is the other way around. You do more damage and your spells are harder to resist. PvP crit mit reduces critical hits that are done to you in PvP. Again, if you are only PvPing, these numbers are meaningless. So those are stats. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that helped. And I will catch you next time. Peace out all.